Do you know that every second 2 million of our blood cells die? Yes, 2 million gone just like that. But here is the twist, they don't go to waste. Our body recycles them like the smartest factory in the world. So in this video, let's unlock the secret life of blood and find out what really happens after blood cells are destroyed. Now, before we jump into the recycling process, let's ask yourself, do you know what is blood? So, blood is not just a red liquid as you can see here. It is our lifeline, a super fluid that delivers oxygen like an express courier, carries food and hormones like a delivery truck, and removes waste like a garbage system, and even protect us like an army. So you see, blood is our body's delivery system, defense system, and even healing system, and all working together at once. Now let's meet the team that makes blood so powerful, which means the component of blood. Okay, so first, the component of blood we will see about the plasma, then RBC, then WBC, then platelets. Okay, so first is the plasma. So what is plasma? Do you know what is plasma? So think of plasma like a river. It's the liquid that carries everything like food, hormones, waste, everything. Okay. Without plasma, nothing could move. Okay. So that is why plasma is very important. Next is RBC, that is red blood cell. This red blood cell are our oxygen delivery veins, which means this RBC will carry or this is a tiny courier. Okay, this is kind of tiny couriers rushing through our veins, dropping off oxygen to every cell and picking up carbon dioxide on the way back. Do you understand that? Suppose this is our vein and this RBC. This is an RBC. This RBC will carry carbon dioxide. Sorry, this will dropping of oxygen. Sorry, this will drop the oxygen to the required organs and picking up the carbon dioxide from the organs. Okay, third is the WBC, that is white blood cells. Now these are our fearless soldiers. Whenever germs attack us, this WBC charge in like warrior to protect us. Understood? Next and last but not the least is our platelets. These are our emergency rescue team. The moment we get a cut, platelet rush to the spot, form a clot and stop the bleeding. Okay, suppose this is our hand. Okay, and this area we got hurt and this is blood bleeding. Okay, it is bleeding is occurring. So in that area where we get a cut, platelet will come. Platelet rush to the spot, form a clot. Okay, this clot will stop the bleeding. Okay, this is how the bleeding gets stopped. Okay, now together plasma, RBC, WBC and the platelet make blood the most powerful fluid keeping us alive. Now let's talk about the white blood cells, the warrior of our blood. The most common ones are neutrophils. What are they? They are like the frontline soldiers, always the first to rush in when bacteria attack. Okay. Then we have eosinophils. What are they now? What is eosinophil? Now, which are great at fighting parasites and also step in during allergies. Okay. So eosinophils are what? Eosinophils are fighting parasite. They are good at fighting parasites and also step in during allergies. Next is basophils. Basophils are very rare, but they are like the alarm system. Okay, they release chemicals like histamine to trigger inflammation and call other immune cells for help in such situation. Okay. Next are the lymphocytes. These are the specialists. Some make antibodies, some directly kill infected cell, and the best part is they remember infections. So next time we are attacked, the response is much faster. And finally is the monocytes. The big cleaner, once they enter tissue, they turn into macrophages, which literally eat up germs and dead cells. So together, neutrophil, basophil, monocyte, lymphocyte, eosinophils, they all form our incredible defense army, keeping us safe every single day. Okay. So the question is, where do all these blood cells actually come from? The answer is hidden deep inside our bones. In the center of our long bones, like the thigh bone or hip bone, there is a soft spongy tissue. Okay, this is a soft spongy tissue called bone marrow. Okay, and this bone marrow is nothing less than a factory of life or blood. Here is a special parent cell called stem cells, are always busy dividing and producing new blood cells. Okay, so suppose this is a bone marrow. Inside the bone marrow there is a stem cell which will produce or divide new blood cells. Okay, new blood cells every time. These stem cells are like master builders. They are like master builders. From them come all three types of blood cells. From this stem cell, all kind of blood cells like what? RBC, WBC, and platelets. Okay, all the this type of blood cells are come from this stem cells only. But remember one thing: they don't live forever. They means the red blood cell, WBC, and the platelets. They do not live forever. Which means what? They can survive for days or years only. In RBC, the red blood cell survive about 120 days only. Okay, whereas WBC, that is white blood cell, lasts for few days to years. Whereas in platelet, only about a week. Only about a week only. Okay, they will survive only about a week. WBC will last just a few days, and RBC will survive about 120 days only. Once they grow old or get damaged, the body doesn't let them just hang around. Okay, it clears them out and recycles them, making space for fresh, strong cells from the bone marrow. Okay, so really, our bone marrow is like a never-ending production line, always replacing the old with the new to keep us alive and healthy. And when they grow old or get damaged, our body doesn't just dump them. Instead, what they do, it recycles them piece by piece. We will study here only. Let's see what happened next. So next is, why does our body destroy old blood cell? Just I have told you, like RBC live for around 120 days, WBC can live from days to years, and platelet survive about a week. What after that? After that, body destroy the old blood cells. Okay, suppose think about our phone battery. When it's new, it charges fast and lasts the whole day, right? But as it gets older, it starts draining quickly. It doesn't hold charge, and sometimes it even overheats, right? So old blood cells are just like that. As you can see here in this figure, these are new and fresh RBCs. Okay, what is RBC? Red blood cell. And this is what happened. the RBC is getting old or damaged. When? After 120 days. Okay, after 120 days, RBC looks like this, dry, old. Okay, so old blood cells are just like that. At first, they are simply weak, but if they are allowed to stay, they can block blood flow. So our question was, why does our body destroy old blood cell? This is the answer. Okay, if the old RBC blood stay, they can block blood flow. What they can do? What they can do? They can block the blood flow. What else? They can spread infection also, and even they can damage. Sorry. And even they can damage the whole system. Understood? That's why our body is so smart. It removes these worn out cells right on time, before they cause trouble, and recycle their parts to make strong, healthy new cell. They remove this old and damaged RBC. Okay, just like cleaning out spoiled food keeps our fridge fresh, destroying old blood cells keeps our blood safe and powerful. Do you understand why blood cells are destroyed? Because they are simply weak, and if they are allowed to stay, they can block the blood flow, spread infection, damage the whole system. That's why our body is remove these worn out cells right on time. Okay, so let's come to our main topic. What happens after blood cells are destroyed? We have learned why blood cells are destroyed. Let's see what happens after blood cells are destroyed. So RBC are like tiny delivery vents, as I have told you, always squeezing through the narrowest blood vessel to deliver oxygen, right? But after about 120 days, these vents start getting old. Okay, after what happened after 120 days? The RBC getting old. As I have, this is how it happens, right? This RBC start getting old. They lose their smooth round shape and become stiff. And when that happens, they can no longer squeeze through those tiny capillaries. What is the function and role of RBC? They will carry the oxygen, right? Okay, they will deliver the oxygen and taking the carbon dioxide with them, right? But during this period of time, when the RBCs start getting old and lose their smooth round shape and become stiff, they can no longer squeeze through those tiny capillaries. Now here is the spleen comes in. Where is the spleen? Here is your spleen. Okay, this is your spleen. So think of the spleen as the strict quality control officer, scanning every passing RBC cell. If a cell is fresh and flexible, it passes through. Okay, suppose this is a guard, security guard. He will give permission to the fresh and flexible RBC to go inside. But what if it's old and weak, just like this? What happened to them? This spleen caught immediately. They caught immediately the old and weak RBCs. The spleen acts like a checkpoint gate, and the old red blood cells never make it out. Okay, now watch this closely. Here come the macrophages. These cells are the garbage collectors. This is what? This is a macrophage. This is also a cell, okay? And these cells are like the garbage collector and defenders of our body also. The moment they spot an old or damaged RBC, this is an RBC suppose, so they stretch out their arms and engulf it. Did you see this? How they stretch their arms And see, this is how they stretch their arms and engulf the RBC. Look at this animation here. See how the red blood cell disappears inside. That's called phagocytosis. What they call? Phagocytosis. The process where the macrophages engulf the RBCs is called phagocytosis, literally meaning cell eating cell. Why? Why cell eating cell? Because RBC is also a cell, macrophage is also a cell. So it is called cell eating cell. It's almost like a Pac-Man inside our body, gobbling up weak cell one by one. And it doesn't stop there. Macrophages are found in the spleen, liver, and bone marrow, constantly cleaning up old blood cells and making sure only healthy ones stays in circulation. Next, when an old red blood cell is destroyed, the most important part inside is hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is released. Do you know that RBC, inside the RBC we have hemoglobin, right? So when this RBC is destroyed, the hemoglobin is released, and this is where the recycling story really begins. Hemoglobin is split into two parts. The first part is heme and the second part is globin. So what is heme and what is globin? This heme contains the iron part, whereas globin is made up of protein. Okay, from here both globin and heme take different journey. Okay, globin gets broken down into amino acids. Protein is what? Amino acid only. So globin will broken down into amino acid, which are reused to make new protein. And new RBC. Let's say new amino acid. This amino acid will make new amino protein, and from this protein will make new RBC. Okay. And what about heme? That's where the real treasure lies. Iron containing heme. So iron is carefully taken out and stored and later used to make fresh red blood cell. The leftover heme then changes into bilirubin and bilirubin, which the liver processes and eventually send out of the body. Understood? The leftover heme changes into the bilirubin, and before this process, okay, let's start again. Heme is a, when iron was not removed, it is called heme. Okay, and after that iron is carefully taken out. Okay, and this iron is reused or stored in liver, spleen, or bone marrow to make a new RBC, whereas other part of the heme will changes into bilirubin, and after that, after bilirubin, it transfer into a bilirubin. Okay, understood? The leftover heme then changes into bilirubin, which the liver processes and eventually sends out of the body through urine. It is excreted by liver in the form of urine or stool. Okay, so hemoglobin doesn't just disappear. It gets taken apart like a machine, and every piece is either reused or safely removed. When an old RBC is broken down, its hemoglobin splits into two parts, as I have already discussed. Splits into two parts. What are the parts? Heme and globin. Right? Let's look at here what happens to globin first. So this is the structure of hemoglobin. Okay, this is a structure of hemoglobin. This wire-like structure is what? These are globin. And globin is what? A protein. And a protein is made up of amino acid. This is a globin part. And inside that, you can see here, this is a heme group. This is what? It is a heme group. And inside this heme group, we have iron. What we have? Iron. And because of this iron, the color of the RBC is red. Okay, so globin is what? Globin is the protein part of hemoglobin. Our body doesn't throw it away. Instead, it breaks it down into amino acid. It breaks it down into amino acids and the tiny building blocks of protein. And here is the smart part. Those amino acids are reused again. They can be used to build a new proteins for muscle repair, growth, or even to make brand new RBCs. Okay, after breakdown of this globin, okay, what is the use of this amino acid after the globin is broken down? They can used for muscle repair, growth, or even to make new brand RBCs. Okay, it's just like taking apart an old house brick by brick and then using those same brick to build something new, and nothing is wasted here. Now, inside the heme part of hemoglobin lies something very precious, as I have mentioned, that is iron. And our body treats this iron like a treasure because without it, we cannot make new RBC. So what happens? The iron is carefully removed. As you can see here, this is a heme part containing the iron. And after that, during the breakdown of the hemoglobin, the heme part will carefully remove the iron part, and this iron will immediately attach to a special transport protein. And what is that protein? That protein is transferrin. Think of transferrin as a delivery truck carrying iron safely through the blood to places like the liver and bone marrow or spleen where it's stored. Okay, as you can see here, during the breakdown of hemoglobin, the heme containing the iron part is transferred to the transferrin. This transferrin will go to the liver or bone marrow or spleen where the iron will be stored. And here is the best part. This same iron doesn't retire, which means when the body makes new RBCs, the stored iron is recycled and used again. That means the iron atom carrying oxygen in our body today could be the very same one that was inside us years ago. Understood? Let's see what is bilirubin. So now let's see what happens to the heme part of hemoglobin once the iron is removed. Okay, let's see here. This is an RBC before the 120 days. After 120 days, it wrinkles and old or damaged. The cell of the RBC is broken down, due to which hemoglobin is come out from the RBC. And this is what? This is an hemoglobin part. Hemoglobin part, when the hemoglobin is broken down, it is splitted into two parts. First is the globin part and the heme part. This globin part will form amino acid, which will used during new formation of RBC or muscle repair or growth. And this heme part, where it contains iron inside the heme. Okay. Okay, now let's remove this iron. We will now remove the iron part and let's we will see what happens to the heme part of the hemoglobin once the iron is removed. The leftover heme doesn't go to waste. Okay, instead it changes into a green pigment called biliverdin. This is a iron containing the heme. Now we will remove the iron to transferrin, and it will goes to the liver, bone marrow and the spleen. After that, this is the part without the iron, and this heme now will converted or changes into a biliverdin, which is a green pigment. Biliverdin is what? It's a pigment. Okay, this is a pigment. And what is the color of the pigment? It's green in color. Okay, but it doesn't stop there. Biliverdin quickly transform into a yellow orange pigment. It again changes into a yellow orange pigment, which is called bilirubin, and it is very toxic. Now here is the catch. Bilirubin is actually very toxic, and if it builds up too much, that's why in conditions like jaundice, what happens during jaundice? What happens? Our skin and eyes turn yellow. Okay, so in conditions like jaundice, when bilirubin gets stuck inside our body, so our skin or eyes turn yellow. So bilirubin formation is just another smart step in the recycling process. The body makes sure even the waste gets converted safely handled. Now once bilirubin is formed, it needs to be handled carefully because it's very toxic, and if it's built up, it will cause jaundice like disease. Now let's see what happened here. So here what happens, bilirubin travels through the blood. Bilirubin travels through the blood attached to a protein called albumin. Okay, albumin is what? Albumin is like a taxi carrying bilirubin safely to the liver. When it reaches the liver, something amazing happens. Do you know what? The liver changes bilirubin into a water soluble form. This is a bilirubin. This albumin is carrying bilirubin. Okay, this is a bilirubin to the liver, and this liver changes bilirubin into a water soluble form. And why is that important? Because only in this form can bilirubin mix with bile and eventually leave the body. Okay, if liver doesn't do doesn't form this water soluble form to the bilirubin, it will not excrete out from our body. So to excrete out, bilirubin does a change in liver changes bilirubin into a water soluble form. And now what after that? This water soluble form of bilirubin mix with bile and eventually leave the body. So the liver acts like a clever processing unit. It takes a dangerous substance, make it harmless, and prepare it for disposal. So what after the liver has done its job and made bilirubin safe, it mixes with the bile and send it into the intestines. And here is where the magic happens. Our gut bacteria step in and convert bilirubin into two forms. Again, bilirubin is converted into two forms. What are they? One part becomes urobilinogen, which later turns into urobilin, and this is carried to our kidneys and finally leaves the body in urine. So what is the role of urobilin? This urobilin will carry to our kidneys, okay, and through which it will leave the body in urine, giving it that yellow color we recognize. So yellow color of urine is caused by this pigment, urobilin. The other part becomes stercobilin. Okay, this bilirubin is divided, it's converted into two parts. First is the urobilinogen and other part is stercobilin, which stays in the intestine and removed in the feces, and that's what gives stool its brown color. Alright, let's put it all together now. Look at this diagram. It shows the whole journey step by step. First, this is a old RBC, and this RBC are caused by the spleen, liver and bone marrow. Not only RBC, we can say any blood cells. It can be WBC, platelet, anything. So this old blood cells are caused by the spleen, liver and the bone marrow. What are they? These are like the body's recycling center. Inside the RBC, it breaks down and open, and hemoglobin splits into heme and globin part, where globin is the protein part, gets broken down into amino acids, and body reuses to make new protein. And from the heme, the iron is carefully removed. Iron is removed and stored in the liver or bone marrow. Later, this same iron is recycled to build new RBCs. And the leftover part of heme, becomes bilirubin, which is green in color, and it changes into a bilirubin, which is yellow in color. And this and it travels to the liver and is processed and then removed from the body. Where it goes to the liver, where this bilirubin is processed and then removed from the body. At the end, bilirubin is thrown out, some in urine, giving it a yellow color. Okay, what happened? In urine, it's a yellow color because presence of this urobilin, right? Presence of the pigment urobilin gives the color of the urine yellow. And some stool giving it a brown color because presence of the stercobilin, right? Here is the amazing part. This whole process never stops. Right now, as we are speaking, about 2 million RBCs are dying inside us every second, and 2 million new ones are being born. Life inside our body doesn't stop. It renews itself every moment. So this is it. Now let's see a quick revision about blood physiology. You can comment down the answer. And so the death of a blood cells isn't the end. It's actually the beginning of something new. If this journey fascinated you, make sure to like, share and subscribe to Vidya Stream, where science becomes simple, fun and unforgettable. See you in the next video. Thank you so much.